Taking on Grigor Dimitrov, David Goffin of Team Europe. Team World trailing 3-7 on the points total. Here we go. That's a nice feel early on.
15 love.
Well, the combination of Dimitrov and Goffin, they've played a couple of times this year, reached the quarterfinals in Monte Carlo, and also played in Toronto, won a round and then had to default in the second round. So they actually got a bit of a feel for each other, which is a huge advantage coming into a match like this.
In fact, they're undefeated, Todd, because in both their tournaments that they played, they gave their opponents walkovers. I don't know, maybe they got something against Oliver Marak and Mate Pavic.
Certainly helped their ranking, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. So 3-0.
And by playing together, you just get that feeling of what shot selection your partner's going to play. They're going to dip across court, because if they are, you move and flow in the right patterns.
Do you think that decision to play them was born out of the fact that they've played a couple of matches this season already?
Most definitely, and that was the one thing that isn't in Team Europe's favour, is they don't really have a combination. We saw Federer and Djokovic go out yesterday, and they didn't win. Oh, he's got the net covered, Jack Sock.
Jack Sock must be brimming with confidence. It's all happening here at the United Centre. You can see Team Europe with a 7-3 lead. But I tell you what, that could all change by the end of the evening. A real tipping point, perhaps, in the outcome of this event. We might have just seen it. And if Kyrgios and Sock can ram home the advantage, use this momentum the Team World have got right now, tomorrow could be blockbuster. But a lot of tennis still to be played. Dimitrov to serve.
15 love.
And it'll be interesting, Todd, to see how animated both Kyrgios and Sock are. Do they bring their serious game face, or they're quite jovial out there? What are you expecting?
I think you'll see that if they can get ahead. But not until then. Remember, they've both been out in the singles court and both lost. They actually need to get a point.
Wait, please.
I don't mind that. You know, it's stuck under the bottom of the net, but needed to be 3 feet higher to get it over. But that was sort of a ball straight at Goffin to say, hey, you better watch out. I'm gonna target you.
And that has what effect on the guy at net? Kind of puts him on his heels early on?
Yeah, definitely. If you know, you haven't been playing much doubles, or you're a little uncomfortable in that part of the court, then yeah, the guy starts backing back a little bit. You find yourself some space. That is great play. No hesitation with the return, got it down and immediately comes forward. And as we said, targets David Goffin. Just have a look where his racket was there. His preparation sitting on his chest. No chance to make a reflex volley if you don't get the racket out in front of you.
Oh, he's missed it.
And Robbie, that one comes from the last two that Sock put at him.
Yeah, I always remember my former doubles partner, JL De Jager. He said the first second serve you get, Robbie, you hit it as hard as you can at the guy at net. He used to do the same in mixed. Intimidate that person at the net. Make them stay in their lane.
Game. Team Europe.
Played really well in the singles, so did Dimitrov yesterday. and I think it's going to leak over into the doubles. He's got to be feeling good about himself, Todd.
Jack Sock, representing Team World to serve.
Yeah, he needs a bit of good performance, and this could be a good springboard to the the finish of the season, defending. He's got to play really well if he's going to make the ATP World Finals. He's the defending champion there.
Yeah, he is struggling to make a season-ending finale. Of course, lots of points to defend there, being an undefeated champion.
$15 all.
Currently in 17th position is Dimitrov. That's good movement at the net there from Goffin. I like what I saw that time round.
Yeah, some good volleys too from Nick Kyrgios, and like most Australians, we grow up playing in our junior events in both singles and doubles, and it's just an instinct that we have and that we learn. Of course, he's a junior Wimbledon and junior Australian Open champion.
$15-40.
And if he's going to hit that kick serve to Goffin, it better be good, because we know that Goffin is world class on the backhand return. 2 break points. Now to the single-hander. It's a much more acceptable pattern of play. Tough to have control and strength up their shoulder height. The ball is snaking through the air. That could prove expensive.
Deuce.
Well, Kyrgios held his ground really well, but Goffin here, he had this point, and he actually stops coming forward at that point. If it had just kept coming, this volley would have been easier. You could see the hesitation as he went for it.
Advantage, Team World.
I'd love to have those last 2 shots over. I formation. Well, they've done well to get out of that game, has Team World. The champions in Lyon earlier this year are 2-1 up.
Today, Goffin does not have that volley. I ripped this point, he went off the throat and hit the baseline.
To be part of the first
He likes inside this way. Okay. That's all good.
this year, Chicago will help to make life truly global and it's shaping up to be the knowledge. It's a great tribute to that level and a wonderful legacy.
The fact that Kyrgios is looking to take the centre there, not just worry about his side of the court. He's helped Jack beautifully in that service game. It's an important responsibility to have. And you're the non-serving player in the team. Team Europe looking good. But I tell you what, looming large in the rear-view mirror are the boys in red. Those of Team World are fired up, and rightly so. Very much in this competition. Kyrgios and Sok, the favourites in the doubles on our win predictor before the match started. Overwhelming favourites. I would love nothing more than to add another 2 points to Team World's campaign.
Well, Robbie, I think if there's well, there's a pretty good duo there, both very good doubles players in their own right, but obviously John McEnroe, multiple Grand Slams. But if there's a server that you're going to break for Team Europe, it'd be this one here, Goffin's service game.
Level 30.
Not the biggest serve between the two, and if he misses the first, if he stays back, I think he's going to be in trouble. I think he needs to get forward. Team World are going to be ripping hard from the baseline.
15-30.
Mentioned that Kyrgios and Sok have got a title together. One in May earlier this year.
That forehand's the dodgy wing of Goffin, and if you can target that when there's pressure with the netman, I think you're going to get a lot of unforced errors just like that one.
It was the shot that bothered him in the singles
Yes.
yesterday, wasn't it?
Really, he has a habit of it departing him for a few games at a time, and it puts a lot of pressure on his game.
He's down 2 break points here.
Oh.
Boy, they did well.
Certainly did. Everybody did well to keep themselves in the point.
I mean, Nick's got to be feeling pretty good about his backhand, taking that over the Sok forehand. Sok just reminding him there that, hey, I've got 3 majors on the men's doubles. Leave that one to me. There it is. Sok torching a forehand. Team World off to the best possible start here, getting the first break.
3 games to 1.
We were just talking about this before we went on air. The shape of these shots, Todd.
Can I just make a point? When we saw Grigor Dimitrov there within that rally, he didn't watch the ball in the rally. He just stood there looking up the other end. It makes it really hard to know where you need to position yourself at net. That's where his volley error came from, not flowing with the play.
So he should be tracking that ball as it's going back and forth in the rally.
There are some players that don't like to watch their partner return.
Yep.
Once that ball's in play, you have to be knowing where you're going so that you can match your position in the court. You can't just stand there isolated because you're going to be in the wrong spot, and that's what happened for him. Oh, yes. Good stuff. Unconventional, but body weight forward, drive, backhand volley. Kyrgios too slow to react.
Good does that feel? That was a touch of genius.
30-15.
This is a volley of confidence of a man who's in good form on the doubles court. Look at that backspin he got off that. Yep. His timing for the interception, perfect.
I've just got a text right now from Mike Bryan to say, I taught him everything he knows there on that cross. What a duo they have been. That is what you call cementing the break. 4-1, Team World.
Yeah, my friend, you are the greatest bowler and cut player and casual player that
Carl, I feel very short here. I'm going to just come up a little bit. How much are you enjoying this Laver Cup experience?
Yeah, for me it's been very enjoyable to get to know these guys better off the court. Something you don't really do, you know, on the tour, so it's been really good this week. But the whole spectacle to play at the United Center, Chicago Bulls, play tennis here, is probably a chance you'll never do again. And obviously this competition is growing, so to be part of it's pretty cool.
What have you learned getting to know Federer and Novak? What are they like away from the tennis?
Well, away from the tennis, Roger's obviously, you know, very chilled, but it's just interesting to talk to him about other stuff than tennis, whatever that is. And to be honest with you, he loves to just joke around and stuff. He doesn't take life too seriously when he's off the court. So it's been really good, especially the other guys as well.
Carl, I'm going to stop you there. Enjoy the tennis. Thanks a lot.
Momentum really working with Kyrgios and Sok now. They are fired up. Very important serve game this for Team Europe.
How quickly that momentum turned too. A couple of break points in the third game that they saved.
Great awareness.
Gee, we saw some good racket head control from everybody in that rally, didn't we? Starting with the return from Kyrgios, just a little bunt. Have a look at that, the control there with the hand just opening the face, pushing it in a off direction.
Slick trick with a stick, wasn't it?
Oh, he left that wide open. He only had to get it over. It was a winner.
Game Team Europe. Team
What a look at. Look at Carl Edmund there. We haven't seen him play much doubles. It's something you advocate for young players?
Yeah, it's interesting. I spoke about Australians playing a lot of doubles when they're young, and one of the things that's changed on tours is a lot of coaches out there and they get their players playing early and they go, no, you don't need to play doubles, you know, we'll just focus on fitness and playing singles. Well, a couple of the great players ever to play the game, including captain John McEnroe, played singles and doubles throughout their whole career. Now, I'm not saying you have to play singles throughout the whole part. These guys that are all out here now, they play a lot of tennis and physically it's hard. But when you're younger, you must get out and play doubles because it expands the repertoire of your game. You learn how to direct returns better. You learn how to move forward into the net. You learn, if you're having a bit of a down period in your singles, to actually get out and play break points and game points and all of the things that matter under stress and pressure on a doubles court. And if there's an area in the game that I watch right now where I think these players, not necessarily these ones, but let's go to the tour, are not as good as former generations, and that's in the forecourt. And that's because they don't spend any time there. They rarely practice. I would say maybe 15% of their practice is spent on volleys and half volleys and even overheads. There's a lot of players with dodgy overheads these days.
If that, Todd.
Nothing dodgy about that overhead. That was brilliant. The off one.
15-30.
You look at players like Rafa and Novak and over their careers, how much they've improved at net. Always admired Rafa. He plays not a lot of doubles, but he always plays some in the season, which he uses to sharpen various portions of his game, in particular the net play and the returner serve.
Oh, talk about good returns of serve.
So this is where he was in his previous service game, down 15-40.
Two BPs. Well, the second volley wasn't an easy one. Being harsh on him. You should have put that one away. You want to take the ball off the court. The sharp angle volley would have been on there, but that's lovely feel second time around. No panic. Still break point. Oh for 4 on break points now, our Team Europe. I mean, if you think the margins are small in singles, I almost have to say they're even smaller on the doubles court.
Advantage, Team Europe.
Mac knows that that was loose. That was a freebie. Puts a lot of pressure on them. Fifth break opportunity now from this set.
Deuce.
Can you believe it?
There's an element of luck there. There's some good feel. He tried to play it, but gee, the net court saves the day. And if he tells you that he meant it, don't believe it.
I tell you, Captain McEnroe needs a little bit of luck to go his way. He's had a tough 2 days, 2 matches. Team World had match points and weren't able to convert.
Advantage Team World.
Schwartzman yesterday. John Isner earlier today. And Sasha Zverev. Scoreboard could be looking a lot different, Todd. Oh. That's an impressive forehand. He does have one of the best forehands on the run.
Yeah, so where would you have gone, Robbie? I would have put this one down the centre to the forehand of Goffin. That's been the dodgy wing, not giving Dimitrov his better shot.
And you've got good options there, because if you go down the middle and it's slightly off target, you're on the backhand of Dimitrov. It's not going to hurt you too often.
Advantage Team World.
Showtime! Sock and Kyrgios lighting it up. 5-2 it is, first set.
Team World is 5 games to 2.
I had to go. Grigor told me to fuck off. When? After I yelled, come on, and he's going to come and fuck off. Give me the stare also.
Apologies for the colourful language, but boys are fired up. And that's part of having unrivaled access.
Beautiful intercept there. And they've shown some good touch, really working the drop volleys well.
You know what it's like, sometimes you have major
Time.
Nick Kyrgios and Jack Sock tapping the inner Brian's energy there. Not quite the chest bump we're used to seeing from the twins, but a slight variation.
Oh, it had every different angle covered, didn't we? 54 cameras in and around this court.
Serving to stay in the set of Europe.
Team World challenging the call on the left service line. The ball is called in.
I think it was Johnny Mack that challenged that.
Now let's see if Captain McEnroe's got this one correct. And he never got a call wrong when he was playing.
No. He's got a good eye, hasn't he?
That's
Call overturned, second set.
well long. I mean, does he want to get out there?
It looks like it.
Tell you what, that was a heck of a reflex volley from Kyrgios, because it was off the left court.
15.
Good awareness from Dimitrov.
See, I like that play much more from Goffin if he can get in as fast as he can. You know, it's interesting with Jack Sock, such a big forehand, but his backhand, you can expose that part of the wing. So if you can get into that quickly, you're going to do well in the point. But he does a good job of covering it up.
41.
Very little conventional doubles gets played these days, with guys serving and volleying behind both first and second serve. Both of them looking for the sneak attack. Hunting in pairs here.
Game, Team Europe. Team Europe, 5 minutes to play.
It's interesting that you say that. The doubles has certainly changed from when I first got out on tour. I played a little bit when guys started to stay back on the clay towards the end of my career, but a lot of that's come about by, we've got a good shot there of the string. And when these new synthetic strings came through where you can get excessive speed and spin off the ball, the majority of the tour started to serve bigger, and that's made it a lot harder to return into the small gaps and control the return.
Serving for the set, Team World. A little less feel on the volley as well with the poly top.
You do, so there's pluses and minuses, but you know, I haven't been on tour for what, 12, 13 years or something, and I can serve, if I'm out practicing a bit, as big or bigger than when I finished.
With the poly?
Yeah. It was never very big, mind you.
You're preaching to the choir there. He's wrapped that round side of the strings beautifully.
15.
Of course, you can string a racket a lot looser with the poly because it's such a rigid string. Now, Dimitrov's got a combination.
He would use gut in one direction and the poly in another.
As does Federer.
I remember having my racket strung Robbie at 68 pounds with natural gut in a reasonably small frame. It was a board. Finished my career playing with 52 pounds.
Good call there from Sok. Good teamwork, calling for the leave.
40-15.
2 set points, Team World.
Let person. Sir, please do not call out while the player is in the service motion. Thank you.
A very clean set of tennis from Team World. Kyrgios and Sok in charge of proceedings here. They're set to the good in 33 minutes.
Yeah, just have good energy first game.
Water.
Marks out of 10 for these two in that opening set.
Well, they had some crucial moments. They faced 4 break points, actually 5 break points, and got out of them all. They were key, but yeah, they're the better team, I think. And what stood out for me was Jack Sock and his ability early on in that first set, where he really took control of the net. He was really strong, and he, if we remember, he had a forehand return. The first one he had, he just ripped it at Goffin, as if to say, "We're coming at you." And Goffin didn't budge too much, but it was enough to sort of actually tell the story. And I think one of the reasons that these two are good at doubles, Robbie, is they really ride the momentum and they're at you. And they enjoy the quick exchanges and they enjoy the flair that you sometimes need to be able to create to win points in doubles.